course, to always stay lit. If you're new to my channel and you love what happens in this video, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, as well as watch my other previous episodes. So we're going to jump right into the topic. So in the past week, I've been thinking about what my next episode should be about. And I noticed a common thread in the lives of a lot of people, almost everyone. At one point in time, we felt overwhelmed. So today I'll be speaking about the spirit of overwhelm. Now, overwhelm is something you often feel, whether it's just triggered by a situation. Sometimes it's like a happy overwhelm, sometimes it's a sad overwhelm, sometimes it's like anger, anything else like this. So this past week, I've been extremely overwhelmed with feelings of both happiness and sadness. I've felt very overwhelmed, and I've noticed that it's affected my productivity. And I've noticed this in a lot of some of my business besties, some of my actual besties, um, everyone. And I've noticed that there's kind of a spirit of overwhelm going around in the world. So I decided to kind of talk about this and kind of share my experience with overwhelm and kind of how I've worked past it. So the first thing that's helped me work past being extremely overwhelmed is recentering myself, and that's through my self-care practices. So something that I've kind of implemented in my self-care practice are candles. And I absolutely love candles. It's something that I'm actually willing to splurge on because I come home and I light the candles and I practice aromatherapy, and it's really helped me be able to recenter. Candles represent a sense of warmth. Candles are just a sense of brightness. They be lit. Um, Candles really have centered me. Another thing that has helped me to battle the spirit of overwhelm is just reading. I tend to read biblical scriptures, but it varies by each person. I tend to read biblical scriptures when I feel extremely overwhelmed to kind of recenter myself, whether it's being overwhelmingly happy or overwhelmingly sad. Another thing I do is I write a lot. I began writing when I was very young. Um, of course, I write like regular content for both YouTube and as well as marketing. But I also just tend to write a lot. Like I write blog posts, I write poems, I write songs, I just write thoughts. I write it out, and that's really helped me with feeling overwhelmed, especially if it's just thoughts. If I write it all out on paper, it doesn't seem as big anymore once I'm out of my head. And that's something that we all struggle with, is getting out of our head and blocking our ego that tells us, oh, well, you're not enough, or this is too much from you, or you will never accomplish this, or it's just too much, you can't handle it, you're not enough, you're not enough, you're not enough. And those are lies. Thoughts often become actions, and actions become your reality. So once you're able to control those thoughts and dim those negative thoughts and dim the spirit of overwhelm, you're able to actually work through it, and you're able to make better actions and make better decisions and ultimately have a better reality for your life. Even if you're overwhelmed with happiness, it's important not to just act solely on that euphoria. Even though being overwhelmed with happiness, it's one of the most amazing feelings ever, but it's important to kind of remain centered as well. Although you're in a higher level, you're at a higher elevation, to remain centered and remain like just very focused. Because if you're at a really high state of euphoria and then one action happens or something happens that shifts in your reality, it's very easy to hit an all-time low and hit a really big crash. So it's important to operate in that higher space while also remaining centered. And that's something that I've been able to kind of try to do. Not to act solely off of euphoria, as well as not to act solely off of just being disappointed, being upset. While we're on the topic of overwhelm, I wanted to speak to you guys about everything that I've been through. So I've had an amazing week. I've been going through a lot of amazing changes in my life, as well as some not so amazing changes. I found out that someone I know had passed away. I found out yesterday, and I never thought that someone you're familiar with, someone that you actually know, you interacted with a few times, could become a hashtag. So I've kind of been dealing with that, and that's made me overwhelmingly sad, as well as made me kind of push myself even more to live life to the fullest. And so I've experienced this feeling of overwhelming happiness today. And it's kind of been a lot of highs and lows. And I knew that I had to get this video out yesterday, but because of the news and everything else I was going through, I had to postpone it to today. And I think the best way to get through it is through, of course, my self-care practices, as well as talking to people, working it out. And you have to really find what works for you best, but always take that time to yourself. I'm an extrovert, so I enjoy being around people a lot, but it's very, very crucial that I take that time to be my own self and focus on myself and figure out where I am, the space I'm in, what I'm thinking, why I'm thinking it, how I'm going to act, and why I'm going to act in that way. And that's actually helped me with kind of spirit overwhelm and taking everything one step at a time. It's very, very hard to kind of slow yourself down, especially when you're very early in your career or you're trying to get to the next level, or a combination of both. You kind of want it to happen now. You want it to just come to you all of a sudden now, but you have to actually take it step by step so that you don't feel so overwhelmed. So if you know that you have a goal, break it down into daily steps, and that's something I've been doing recently. Just take it little chunks at a time. Don't eat the whole steak. Cut it up, put some A1 sauce on it, savor each and every bite, and you won't feel so overwhelmed. It's very important for you to kind of check where you are so that you don't feel so overwhelmed, so that you don't feel as though everything's happening at once, everything's crashing down at once, and you don't know how you're going to deal with it. Life always has those moments where you feel as though too much is going on, and it's important to step back and ask yourself, am I really doing what's important to me? Am I really following what's important to me? And also strategizing your goals and strategizing all your actions, and that's something I'll be talking about in my next video. Once again, thank you for joining me today on the V-Lit series as we talked about the spirit of overwhelm. Let's continue this discussion on Twitter and Instagram at I am Kyla Monet. I love to hear what you guys have to say about this. Comment below, like, subscribe, and as always, stay lit.